your children? You got 9 of them?
Of course I did. They did. Your mom did the ironing when she was 14 years old.
10.
She did ironing for the whole family. That I remember.
Wow.
Yep.
And Grandpa.
Yep.
How did
I sat on the other pillow.
But I thought you went to work.
Huh?
I thought you went to work.
Yeah.
He was home from 9 to 5.
My goodness.
I said you were home from 9 to 5.
You must have really worked hard sitting on that satin pillow. Must have been hard work. Jeez. Oh boy. What were family members expected to do? What were the family members expected to do?
Do the work.
As in the boys and girls.
As in the boys and girls. What kind of expectations were expected out of boys and girls?
Heidi won it. No, I don't have a tripod.
Are you asking me or are you asking
Grandpa?
What?
What kind of expectations were expected out of boys and girls?
What they gonna do the straight and narrow road?
Were boys and girls ever seen together?
Huh?
Were boys and girls ever seen together?
Well, of course. And boys had, girls were never news paper carriers like they are now. News girls, there never were girls as
That's Sarah.
Jim and Pete both had.
And what else? There
Jim
were
and
never
Pete both had paper routes.
paper routes, but the girls didn't. That was unheard of. The girls don't have paper routes.
No, not
I have an unknown source about this.
Jim's paper.
I would like to know.
Couldn't find it?
I heard from somewhere that girls were separated from the guys when they were about 16. What's the meaning of this here?
I don't know what you mean by separate.
Well, they were separate. You know, they didn't do things together anymore. Like,
Well, they dated back then when they were 16, and they had school dances, basketball games.
I mean, like cousins, like brothers and sisters. They weren't allowed. Like at 10 o'clock at night, they had to go to bed, whether it was their bedtime or not. You know.
That one I don't understand. I don't understand about that question.
Say,
Well, like me, for example. I go to bed when you go to bed.
Well, that's because you're not a grandmother and you don't have to sit up and worry about a granddaughter in your house. See? That's the
Okay.
reason.
I see. I get it. Well, what?
I want to see out of that.
Since you're the grandmother, you know.
You've been saving this for
I
us.
want to see out of that.
Exactly the way we looked when we went on
Since
vacation.
you're the
I believe it.
grandmother, that means that you don't. When you're the grandfather, does that
Here
mean
we
you
are.
don't approve of this?
of what?
Better have Bob get a close-up with that one.
Don't approve of what?
Of letting us
Did you see through it?
talk at night. You know,
Microphone?
like just.
I don't know. I
Sarah?
understand what you're trying to get at.
Just ask something.
All right.
You,
Okay, Grandma and Grandpa. No, not Grandpa. Grandma. I understand your family came overseas. Is that
Well,
true?
upstairs.
You mean like 5
Scott,
years?
is that
Yeah.
Jenny up there?
Okay,
Go
then
ahead,
maybe
listen to the radio.
you can tell me about some of their customs and stuff.
Ask them-
Do you
ask
think
them
you
to
can
play
tell
Game
me
of
the
They
Shuffleboard.
came,
There's nobody in there?
I don't think they came to this country
Play
from
shuffleboard.
the country of Austria,
Jim,
which is now Yugoslavia.
Are those guys up there,
Divided
Jim?
After the First World War, and my mother and father my mother came over first. They came on 2 different ships. It took them 3 weeks to cross the ocean.
Wow.
They landed in Ellis Island, right where the Statue of Liberty is now. They have not renovated Ellis Island yet, have they?
No.
No, they're working on
No,
it.
So they're
just the
working on it now.
statue. Just the Statue of Liberty.
Yes.
That's where they stayed. They had to stay there for 3 days and pass quarantine. They check them for diseases, and they got all kinds of shots. The only food they had when they came over on the ship was what they packed from home. I remember my mother telling she carried bread in a white towel. That's what they carried with them.
and they just take a little chunk each day.
Yeah.
It
And
took them 2 weeks to get over there.
took them 3 weeks.
Upstairs
Took
yet?
them 3
Wow.
weeks.
So they must
I saw
have, the
Jenny's
food
room.
must have really been Rasham, huh?
Oh.
It was
Oh, yeah, the
really
bathroom's in that room.
rough, and they were
It's at
sick.
the top of the
My
steps.
mother was
or it's
sick
right
all the
in
while
there.
she was coming across.
Did you come over across as a little girl? Or were you born
Come
here?
on!
You kidding?
Well,
I was
It's
born
straight in from the top of the
Wisconsin.
steps.
that's good.
I was born in northern Wisconsin.
What kind of problems did you face coming to a new world, a new
You
community?
mean my parents or?
Yeah.
Well, my father did not like factory work because they're rural people. They're gardening people, farmers. They came to this country, and the first job my father got was in a steel mill, and he didn't like it. They lived in Chicago, and a real estate agent came to him and came to all these foreigners. See, they were pretty slick, pretty clever. Came to these foreigners and says, we can sell you 80 acres of land up north where you can grow pickles, pickle factories right next door, you make lots of money, and these foreigners believed this guy. So my father took his savings and bought the land, sight unseen. They got on the train in Chicago, went up to Draper, Wisconsin with their furniture and their two little boys. I think two of my brothers, Joe and John, were then. They got up there. The railroad engineer unloaded their furniture right out into the bushes, right off the train. They had to carry their furniture from the railroad track down to the house that they built. When they got there, all they found was cut over land. There was no such thing as a pickle factory or growing pickles up there because there were stumps all over, stumps like this.
You go up there now, you can still see the big pile of rocks that they had to get out of the ground before they could have a garden.
So they were stuck up there.
Yeah, Tracy
See,
Blair was it.
my father used all his savings to buy this land. There was no way to make a living on it,
What's his stomach?
Terrible.
so they were stuck there.
Ask Dad about his side of the family.
I know, get him running.
Wait, I have a question. Is it true both of your parents died of cancer?
Yes, my mother more so of yellow jaundice, but that's more or less liver cancer.
Is it really?
What is yellow jaundice? I mean, besides liver cancer, what kind of disease does it, you know?
I
Disease of the
don't know that
liver.
much about it, Patty. I know they turn yellow, their skin turns yellow before they die. Outside of that, I don't know that much about it.
No, I think they can cure it, but,
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a bad disease.
So, Grandpa, what was your childhood days like?
what?
What was your childhood days like?
I was always running.
Now we get the truth.
Yeah,
Now, listen,
I
guys.
wanna listen
running
too.
from one, running
Wow.
to two.
Tell them about the time you got up at midnight and went downtown. You never told me what you did downtown, but you went.
Had it-
At midnight.
Well, what were you running to? What were you running from?
That's a good
I
question,
didn't-
Betty.
From or towards, yeah.
Where were you going? Where were you? You were just running as a little
I
kid?
just have to go downtown and see if everything was all right, and I come back home, go back to bed again.
Every night you did this?
How and
He's looking out for the knickknacks.
Why'd you run? Why did you take up running?
I didn't do it.
I mean,
Jim, hand me that, I'll
must
throw it
have
out.
been in great shape then. You must have had a good cardiovascular system.